Good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic Live. So excited to be with you. So excited to share the news with you. People, we have good news today. I've got a few news stories we kind of cover. We're going to start out with the Fani Willis. But the first things first, I wanted to wish you all a magnificent Thanksgiving. Hopefully you all had a great Thanksgiving. I thought this meme was so fantastic. I love that cat, but I said no to politics at Thanksgiving. Dinner was magnificent, folks. Anyways, it's good times, good fun. I hope you all had fun with your liberal friends and relatives there at Thanksgiving. A couple house cleaning issues here. Things I want to mention. I added my name to this stream. So the Hodge twins have confirmed that they will join Scott Pressler, the AK guy, Kyle Becker, and DC Drano to help Ken Paxton primary John Cornyn. Folks, this is big news. It appears that Ken Paxton is going to be launching a primary against John Cornyn. And he is an absolute rhino if ever there was one. If you guys didn't catch the other show I did on this, John Cornyn receives an F on the Liberty score. And him, along with John Thune, were kind of the Mitch McConnell acolytes that were picked to be the potential Republican majority leader in the Senate, which ended up being John Thune. Don't kid yourself for a second. John Thune is coming out, I'm pro-Trump now, and we need to pass the Trump agenda. Dirty trick. Dirty secret about the Senate, they always have the votes in the back pocket. So what they can do is on these close votes, they can have somebody like Susan Collins or somebody else take a hit while they project themselves as being in favor of the Trump agenda, even though they know that their vote won't put Trump's agenda over the top to win. So it's a big thing to have everybody lining up against John Cornyn. This is the kind of solidarity we need. So if you're down in Texas, it's going to be even more important for you to join in the fight with Ken Paxton. Okay, so again, just a few house cleaning issues. I wanted to bring this up. Number of Democrats who voted against Joe Biden's 21 cabinet nominees, folks, it's zero. The number is zero. Okay, so this is why it's so important to get rid of people like John Cornyn. Donald Trump's biggest fight will not be against Democrats. It won't. It will be against the rhinos in the Senate. And now, as we continue to see more red seats actually flip to blue as they count votes past Thanksgiving, I want to mention our House lead is down to like one or two seats. It's unbelievable. So really quite appalling what's going on there. But on kind of a note of humor here, I don't want to leave it all on a bad note here. This is folks, do you see this CFC 01? Does anybody out there in my chat land know whose plane that is on its way to Mar-a-Lago? Anybody? I just have to find out if anybody knows CFC 01, whose plane this is. Please type this in the chat because, folks, this is happening all over. If you didn't see, Mark Zuckerberg was at Mar-a-Lago the other day, and Chad says sissy. That's right. But yes, you guys are getting it. Trudeau. Yes, it is Justin Trudeau's plane. He is now going to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the golden ring, as they say. It's just, please, no tariffs on Canada. It always humors me when the U.S. goes into some foreign conflict and Canada sends 2 fighter jets. It's just Canada. Oh my gosh, Justin Trudeau. And I don't trust that Pierre Poilievre either, their quote unquote conservative leader up there. I don't know. Those of you in Canada, you may like him. I don't see him as being consistent. I haven't seen him as being consistent. He's more like a rhino in the U.S. Senate. So anyways, I just look at that. Sam says I'm Canadian and Justin Trudeau is a national embarrassment. So yeah, it's pretty bad up there, Sam. I'm sorry. Maybe you need to marry an American so you can move down. Maybe you're married already. I don't know. But get some citizenship here in the U.S. We'll take you. Anyways. Oh, gosh. You say, oh, wait, here. She's got another comment, folks. Pierre Poilievre is marginally better. Well, yeah, marginally is about it. So, anyways, she heard my last comment there. All right. So, enough of this. Let's get on to Fani Willis. Folks, do you want some Fani Willis throwback first? Okay, so my friend George actually covered this story on X. It was out of the New York Post, but he posted this video along with it. And I'm going to actually go to the New York Post article because some new sources have come out. And Fani Willis is still on it, but folks, it's not coming together. It's pretty wild. It appears the whole thing is going to be dismissed down there in Georgia. But I have to share the greatest clip from the courtroom in Georgia of all time with Fani Willis. Get ready.
Has he ever visited you at the place you laid your head?
So let's be clear, because you lied in this. Let me tell you which one you lied in. Right here. I think you lied right here. No. This is the truth,
Judge.
And
This
it
is-
is a lie. It is a lie. You see.
Mr. Sena, thank you. We're going to take.
Do you guys remember all these clips of Fani Willis? And I mean, you guys, my audience was so great because I did more videos on Fani Willis, and it was constant taking of this whole thing down. But somebody who deserves the greatest praise is Ashley Merchant down there and Sadow, the attorneys that exposed her for what she was and what was going on. But let's get back to her.
Take 5 minutes. Be back in 5.
Is it funny or is it Fani? You guys remember this moment? I mean, it was so funny. Look at her.
I very much want to be here, so I'm not a hostile witness. I very much want to be
Not
here.
so much that you're hostile, Miss Willis, it'd be an adverse witness. Your interests are opposed to Miss Merchant's.
Thank you.
Merchant's interests are contrary to democracy, Your Honor, not to mine.
Country democracy. She's in a courtroom. That was the judge. Remember, the judge started getting frustrated with her too. But anyways, it gets really wild because right now I've got to move one thing out of the studio here and then pull in the story from the New York Post and show you what's going on down there in Georgia right now, because it is it's very encouraging, folks. We kind of, the reality is we saw this already happening. We saw that this was going to take place, but now we're getting more confirmation of this taking place. The court, I mean, this case should have never even been in court. Obviously, Fani Willis with Loverboy Nathan Wade, the whole thing down there, it just got to be a soap opera drama. But here, I'll mention my sponsor really quickly too. Verity Metals. Call Matt over there at Verity Metals, folks. You can also go visit them online at veritymetals.com. You can call Matt at 480-717-9081. Again, that's 480-717-9081. Folks, I am a big believer. I really am in having physical, tangible assets, gold and silver being the primary ones. It's had a good run for me this year. I guess I invested in some of it. So I encourage you. Right now, it's actually dipped back a little, so it'd be a good time to buy. You can give him a call. He also has a way that you can get your IRA switched over to gold and silver and actually manage the storage of that. So go check them out at veritymetals.com. Call Matt at 480-717-9081. All right. Here's the story, folks. Fani Willis, or Fani, is it Fani? Is it Fani? I mean, she always got upset when we pronounced her name wrong, but I'm going to go with Fani. Fani Willis is the last person still prosecuting Trump, but the case isn't likely to last much longer, say sources. So these are sources on the ground that the New York Post has in Georgia. As the national tide turns in President-elect Donald Trump's favor, Fulton County DA Fani Willis is the last woman standing in his way, but she isn't likely to last long. That's so, I just love reading that. I mean, this woman is so bad. She was so hostile. As the national tide turns in President-elect Donald Trump's favor, Fulton County DA Fani Willis is the last woman standing in his way, but she isn't likely to last long. Willis is the prosecuting the only court case left against Trump before he returns to office in January over alleged election interference in Georgia. Federal cases into the returning president's involvement in the this word insurrection. I mean, do you know, people, that a state senator or state assemblywoman, anyways, in New York is actually calling for New York to secede into Canada? She wants to go join Trudeau, and she says that they should withhold their taxes from the federal government. Yes, I am not kidding you. So we have found the real insurrectionist. She's actually in New York. I mean, this is so stupid. So can you imagine if I mean, really, like American citizens are like, yeah, we're just not going to pay our taxes too. What do they do to them? And yet this guy's out there saying that a whole state should withhold billions of federal revenue. I mean, it's just the double standard is so dumb. A lot has changed from 1 year ago when Willis, 53, the first woman elected as Fulton County DA in 2021, was riding high as the prosecutor set to take down Trump in a blockbuster, high-profile RICO racketeering case. I love this because she was riding high. They all were. They all thought they were going to get him. This is why Trudeau is on the jet down to Mar-a-Lago. Everybody thought, oh, it's over. Donald Trump, it's over. It's over. And yet here we're finding again, it's not over. No. Oh, what happened here? Did I hit a button? Joe, I'm sorry, folks. Hold on. There we go. So now they're having to deal with the reality of the fact that he's president. It's just so delicious. Although Willis appears adamant she will stay the course, she could potentially be kicked off the case by a body who are investigating it or usurped by the state Supreme Court, who are likely to step in and close it, according to sources. Fani doesn't see how she's headed for a brick wall. She's going full tilt with vengeance and emotions, one local defense lawyer who knows her told the Post. She's still so full of herself and hasn't learned her lesson yet. She doesn't realize she is her own demise, and she's the reason that everything is falling apart. Willis, who won re-election for a second term as DA in November, has remained defiant and ignored a subpoena in September from a special Senate committee looking into the case, refusing to show up for a hearing when she was supposed to testify. Folks, I mean, this is wild. So she can refuse subpoenas. What would happen if somebody refused a subpoena in the courtroom where she's at? Come on. It's so ridiculous. Okay. Last week, a Georgia appeals court. Did you guys catch this news? How many of you knew that this had happened? I should have covered this last week. I saw it when it broke, but a Georgia appeals court abruptly canceled oral arguments scheduled for next month in the case. And Trump's lawyers are likely to cite the federal end to the election interference charges against him to get the Georgia case thrown out. I would be shocked if it wasn't dismissed, but Fani has an ego bigger than the entire state. So who knows? A source close to Willis investigations told the Post. There's Nathan Wade. Remember Loverboy? This case, it's all bringing me back. Oh my gosh. I mean, I did so many videos on this chick. Do you guys remember this? This case is just, it was so laughable. I mean, they had this gal running the case and she's literally not, she's got all her cash transactions, hiding money under the mattress and all that. And gosh, I mean, I actually think we should go back to more cash transactions, but it was how she was using it to hide her transactions to basically shovel more money Nathan Wade's way. It was just wild. Just wild. No, we don't want to go back, Jan says. I do. I think this is so ridiculous. These people all thought they were going to win, and they didn't. And now this case is going by the wayside. I love this, how they call him Georgia personal injury lawyer. Nathan Wade was named special prosecutor. That's the thing. He had never tried a RICO case. And I don't know. I've heard two versions of this, people. So there's the reality that, of course, he's the beau and she's trying to, keep money in the relationship. So she gives him the case. But she had asked other people, and the case was so bad, none of the people who actually tried RICO cases before wanted to take it on. That was part of the news back then. They were trying to defend her. That's what's so funny. These ladies, like on The View, were trying to defend Fani Willis by talking about how nobody else would take the case on. Like somehow they didn't get what they were saying. Like the reason nobody else wants to take the case on is because there's no case. Oh my gosh, this stuff. Representatives for Willis and Wade did respond did respond. I think they meant to say did not, because there's no thing in here from them. Okay. I think it was did not respond to requests for comment from the Post for this article. Willis, the daughter of a Black Panther turned criminal defense attorney. It's just, his stuff is a Black Panther turned criminal defense attorney. Blew up her own reputation in January 2024 when it came out that she had hired her boyfriend, Nathan Wade, a criminal defense lawyer with no prior experience. It is like a whole cadre of these criminal defense lawyers defending bad actors, most likely. With no prior experience with felony cases, to be special prosecutor on the Trump case. So, I mean, it was not only that he had never charged a RICO case, he had no prior experience with felony cases. Wade, who operates out of a basement office in a local industrial park, was allegedly paid thousands more than other qualified lawyers on the team by Willis's office. Yeah, he made like $750,000. Do you guys remember this? Oh my gosh. Despite the scandal, which engulfed Willis and effectively derailed the case, she still keeps an official Fanny store online. So I didn't know this. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. You've got to be kidding me. She keeps an official Fanny store. It just sounds so bad, Fanny store. I'm sorry. Folks, this is too much fun for me. Oh, after we went through all this is just, you've got to be kidding me. She keeps a Fanny store. Official Fanny store online selling personalized merchandise, including, oh no, On My Grind, Madam's Coffee. Folks, I hadn't gotten to this point in the article. On My Grind. Just give me a minute. I mean, official Fanny store selling On My Grind, Madam's Coffee. This is too good. T-shirts with the words Fannie T. Willis Fan Club. Oh my gosh, a Fannie T. Willis Integrity Matters button. Integrity Matters. I swear to you guys, this is so funny. This is the funniest part of the article. As well as frame posters. Who would anybody in my audience want a frame poster of Fannie Willis? I can't imagine anybody wanting that. Hoodies and mugs with her name and photo. Meanwhile, another high-profile case Willis is involved in, a sprawling and costly trial over Atlanta area rapper Young Thug and his associates in the group Young Slime Life, is also going astray. Oh, you guys have been keeping up on that too, right? Her decision to prosecute Young Thug and YSL under RICO statutes, because RICO's the thing for everything now. That's the RICO. But the real RICO case, folks, I do want you to understand this. The real RICO case, the racketeering case, is our federal government colluding with a prosecutor and her boyfriend, who's acting as an attorney in the state of Georgia, to go after the former president of the United States, acting in concert with the Biden Justice Department. You do realize there is a RICO case here, right? Anyways, I'm not going to go on about the Young Thug life, but it's wild. This is Fannie Willis wanted to appear as being tough on crime, a commentator in the forum online about the case posted. She thought a famous rapper high-profile case would boost her image, so they went after Thug without any real evidence, and that's why the case is a complete cluster F. In the Trump case, Nathan Wade was forced to drop out after a hearing in February, instigated by Trump's defense team over Willis's apparent conflict of interest in hiring her boyfriend. Both Wade and Willis testified at the hearing they were no longer romantically involved. But you guys remember the Trump. However, eyebrows were raised in September when they turned up together after Willis's daughter was pulled over for driving while using her cell phone. Cops found she had a revoked license and arrested her. Okay. And then who showed up? Wade and Willis together. But I thought they weren't involved. I thought she dumped him. Anyways, it's over for her. It's over. It's just wild. I mean, so fortunately, sources on the ground, they're from the New York Post, have confirmed that the case looks to be basically done. They're gonna just dismiss this out of there. Now, something else I need to talk to you about. I mentioned something on the show the other day, and I don't think a lot of people fully appreciated what I had to say on this. So here we go. So Mike Rogers, Michigan. Okay, I said I actually feel it was better that the Democrat won. Okay. And I use that term loose, won in Michigan. Okay. I'm going to show you why. I have some clips of Mike Rogers speaking in the past. Now, one thing that happens is when you get an incumbent in there, it is so difficult to primary them. Primary challenges become very difficult. And so if you take a rhino hack and put him in this seat instead of Slotkin, Slotkin is easier to beat in a general election than it is to get rid of the rhino in the primary. And I'm going to show you, this is seriously, it's like a 1-minute video. Watch every second of this. Screen grab it, share it, do whatever you want with this video, okay? I picked this up off of X. It was probably somebody like Maze or somebody who shared it. But this is amazing. Watch this, and you'll understand what I'm saying.
Credit George Bush and his administration for assembling this new intelligence community. They passed the Patriot Bill that allows and takes the handcuffs off our intelligence services. Policymakers back here use words like illegal wiretapping.
Look at this. Illegal wiretapping. He wanted the handcuffs off the intelligence services so they could spy on Americans. Okay, this is Mike Rogers who lost the Senate seat. Okay? Just want you guys to understand why I said what I said. Is this making sense to everybody? Yes or no? Why I am so opposed to him actually being in that seat. Am I making sense?
Domestic surveillance program of the NSA. It could be abused.
We're already seeing pressure on the Patriot Act that maybe we don't need it now.
Couldn't be further from the truth.
The bulk.
I mean, totally all in on the Patriot Act. You guys remember this? I'll admit, I did not know how bad the Patriot Act was at the time. So I've just got to say that. So forgive me.
Telephone metadata program is legal and effective. Provisions of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act expire at the end of this month. We need to rapidly reauthorize these provisions, and we need to work toward making these tools permanent as a part of our arsenal.
Permanent. He wanted them permanent. Not only did he want them reauthorized, but he wanted them made permanent.
Restriction, big problem in U.S. intelligence collection. We're the only intelligence service in the world that is forced to go to a court. We always joked in the intelligence space, we would love to get 1/10 of what Google has on you.
I supported these programs when they were classified, and I support these programs today.
So that's a campaign ad. Justin Amish was running against him. This is why I actually feel good about him not getting in that seat. Now, I did promise you guys this video, so I'm going to share it with you too. This is on Ukraine. And again, this is something you're probably going to want to screen record, do whatever you want to share with people, because I don't think they fully understand what's been going on in Ukraine. And this is going to give you a history of it. You need to, like, people do not talk about the fact that in 2014, we overthrew the Ukrainian government to install our own people. Okay. It's been a puppet state. It's used for money laundering, all this stuff. And this whole narrative that the media has created about Putin over there. And now we're literally providing new weaponry to them so that we can have all these problems. So please take the time, watch this. This is 6 minutes, folks. And I'm going to let it play in its entirety. Okay. And I want you to everybody just, if you're like doing something in the background, just pay attention to this.
This is not an attack by Putin on Ukraine in the way that we are told every day. This started in 1990, February 9th, 1990. James Baker III, our Secretary of State, said to Mikhail Gorbachev, NATO will not move 1 inch eastward if you agree to German unification.
Okay, guys, I just want you to, so this is going all the way back to Mikhail Gorbachev. You getting this? And we would not have NATO, no more NATO states, okay? That's the promise way back then.
Basically ending World War II. And Gorbachev said that's very important. Yes, NATO doesn't move, and we agreed to German unification. The U.S. then cheated on this, already starting in 1994, when Clinton signed off on basically a plan to expand NATO all the way to Ukraine. This is when the so-called neocons took power. And Clinton was the first agent of this. And the expansion of NATO started in 1999 with Poland, Hungary, and Czech Republic. At that point, Russia didn't much care. There was no border other than with the Königsberg, but other than that, there was no direct threat. Then the U.S. led the bombing of Serbia in 1999. That was bad, by the way, because that was a use of NATO to bomb a European capital, Belgrade, 78 straight days to break the country apart. The Russians didn't like that very much. But Putin became president, they swallowed it, they complained, but even Putin started out pro-European, pro-American, actually asked maybe we should join NATO when there was still the idea of some kind of mutually respectful relationship. Then 9/11 came, then came Afghanistan, and the Russians said, yeah, we'll support you, we understand, to root out terror. But then came 2 other decisive actions. In 2002, the United States unilaterally walked out of the Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty. This was probably the most decisive event, never discussed in this context. What it did was trigger the U.S. putting in missile systems in Eastern Europe that Russia views as a dire, direct threat. In 2004-05, we engaged in a soft regime change operation in Ukraine. But in 2009, Yanukovych won the election and he became president, and in 2010 on the basis of neutrality for Ukraine.
See?
That calmed things down because the U.S. was pushing NATO, but the people of Ukraine on the opinion polls didn't even want to be in NATO. They knew that the country is divided between ethnic Ukrainian, ethnic Russian. What do we want with this? We want to stay away from your problems. So in February 22nd, 2014, the United States participated actively in the overthrow of Yanukovych. A typical U.S. regime change operation, have no doubt about it. And the Russians did us a favor. They intercepted a really ugly call between Victoria Nuland, my colleague at Columbia University now, between her and the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, Jeffrey Piat, who's a senior State Department official till today. And they talked about regime change. They said, who's going to be the next government? All of this is to say, the U.S. then said, okay, now NATO's really going to enlarge. And Putin kept saying, stop. You promised no NATO enlargement. It's been, by the way, I forgot to mention, in 2004, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Bulgaria, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, 7 more countries in the not 1 inch eastward. And then, okay, it's a long story, but the U.S. kept rejecting the basic idea, don't expand NATO to Russia's border in a context where we're putting in goddamn missile systems after breaking a treaty. 2019, we walked out of the Intermediate Nuclear Force Treaty. On December 15, 2021, Putin put on the table a draft Russia-U.S. security agreement. You can find it online. The basis of it is no NATO enlargement. I called the White House. That next week after that, begging them, take the negotiations. Putin's offered something, avoid this war. Oh, Jeff, there's not going to be a war. Announce that NATO's not going to enlarge. Oh, don't worry, NATO's not going to enlarge. I said, oh, you're going to have a war over something that's not going to happen? Why don't you announce it? And he said, no, our policy is an open door. This is Jake Sullivan. Our policy is an open door policy. Open door for NATO enlargement. That is under the category of bullshit, by the way. You don't have your right to put your military bases anywhere you want and expect peace in this world. They turned down the negotiations. Then the special military operation started. And 5 days later, Zelensky says, okay, neutrality. And then the United States and Britain said, no way. You guys fight on.
Remember this?
We got your back. We don't have your front. You're all going to die. But we got your back as we kept pushing them into the front lines. That's 600,000 deaths now of Ukrainians since Boris Johnson flew to Kyiv to tell them to be brave.
Folks, this is nuts. Do you guys all get this? I mean, this is a bigger historical breakdown than I had before of it. I always thought back to, the overthrow. I wasn't thinking back to the soft revolution regime change, but basically you had somebody in Ukraine who was for neutrality, and then we didn't like that because our military industrial complex and the deep state didn't like that. So then we actually overthrow the government of Ukraine so we can get our installed person in there. We've got Zelensky, with his, he's the butt slapper. I mean, have you guys seen the butt slapping videos of Zelensky, walking around in high stilettos and naked butt cheeks, and something's wrong with this guy. And then he's pictured as a war hero in this fake set with his sweater, and then he's out buying yachts. The whole thing is so disgusting to me. And now, folks, I've got a really crazy thing that Boris Johnson just said that'll blow your mind. But before I do that, I do want to mention my other sponsor really quickly. But this is going to, folks, you're just going to be like, no way, Boris Johnson something's wrong with this guy when you hear what he said today. So I just want to, I'm going to pull this in real quick. So mypillow.com, folks, promo code lumberjack or mypillow.com/lumberjack. The deals are hot right now over there. So go check them out. Oh, so shoot. Here, where did it go? Anyways, I just wanted to show you the free shipping on orders over $75. He's extended the guarantee. And you can see the classic collection on sale, lowest price ever on those MyPillows. The Christmas extravaganza. Okay, you got the slippers, flannel sheets. Those flannel sheets are just phenomenal. Okay, the towels, the best towels ever. And those just got back in. Those have been gone for a long time. Trying to get those restocked because they sell so well. They're the best towels you'll ever use, super absorbent and all that. But go over there. Look at this. And here, look at this deal. Right now, this is a Black Friday special. $7.49 for multi-use MyPillow. That's the Roll and Go, one of my favorite products. $7.49. The premium MyPillows are only $18.98 for queens, $19.98 for kings, bolsters, and so on. So much more. Just go check it out at mypillow.com. Use promo code lumberjack. Support Mike Lindell. Support the show. Thank you so much. Okay, so now I got to give you this. This just Kaneko the Great covered this. Listen to this. This is insane. Boris Johnson says NATO is waging a proxy war against Russia. Putin won't use nuclear weapons. This, according to Boris Johnson. Now, two things cannot be true at the same time, people. I want you to think about this. First, we were being told that Putin was crazy and his bad health, he was going to do something completely irrational, couldn't be trusted. And now we're being told that he's got the good sense not to use nuclear weapons. Two things can be true at the same time, but not these two things. Am I making sense to you folks? Am I making sense that what the media is saying is not true? Yes or no? I just want to make sure you get this point, because they told us he was crazy and now they're telling us he won't launch nukes. Okay. It's no way. It doesn't make sense. The real issue is the slow escalation of the proxy war. That's what Boris Johnson's saying. The real problem is the slow escalation of it. We need to escalate this war faster. And European troops should secure Ukraine's borders in a peace deal. What? We can't secure our own borders, but man, I tell you, foreign troops have to, go secure Ukraine's borders. Okay, so here, direct quotes from Boris Johnson. Get ready. Let's face it, we're waging a proxy war. We're waging a proxy war, but we're not giving our proxies the ability to do the job. For years now, we've been allowing them to fight with one hand tied behind their backs, and it has been cruel. To get this thing done, we need to give them the weaponry they need, give them the permission they need, give them all the military support, logistical and tactical, that we can without coming into direct conflict with Russia ourselves. Are you kidding me? So they're saying, we're going to give them everything. We're going to get all this tax. We're fighting a proxy war, but we can't come in direct contact. And somehow that's going to be okay to Putin. It's freaking ridiculous. Number two, we need to give them the money. Listen to this number. I talked about the 300 billion. And by the way, we should do more than just 300 billion. Folks, I mean, almost $1/3 of $1 trillion. That's just not enough. We should construct the kind of lend-lease loan for Ukraine. I don't for a minute, because now they want Ukraine under their thumb. Okay. I don't for a minute believe that Putin would use nuclear weapons against Ukraine. I give you several reasons for that. The first is that he would immediately forfeit all the indulgence that he's had from the Chinese, the Gulf countries, from, who still have relations with him, from the Indians who still have relations with him, from all the swing voters around the world who still think, well, is Ukraine really the top of my priorities? This is Boris Johnson again. I'm quoting him. A first strike nuclear is an unbelievable thing to do, so it would be a political disaster for Russia. Again, this is Boris Johnson saying this. He would terrify his own people, absolutely terrify them, because they would not know exactly how the West was going to respond. So he would forfeit support abroad. He would forfeit a huge amount of support at home. They would not know when or how we are going to respond. The problem has not been escalation. The problem has been failure to escalate fast enough. This is Boris Johnson. He thinks, so we need to escalate war with Russia faster, people. How many of you, seriously, think that it's a good idea? Type this in the chat. Think that it's a good idea to escalate a war with Russia more quickly? Does that make sense to any of you? Because it makes sense to Boris Johnson. That's the whole problem here. We haven't escalated war fast enough with Russia. It's been the dithering, the delay, the nickel and diming of the measures. In other words, just give them all the money they want. So freaking stupid. He goes on to say, I don't think we should be sending in combat troops to take on Russians, but I think as part of the solution, as part of the end state, you're going to want to have multinational European peacekeeping forces monitoring the border, but also helping the Ukrainians. And I cannot see that such a European operation could possibly happen without the British. We've got to be there. That's a long day's march from the UK, sending troops to fight Russians, as I said, but that's got to be part of the package. I'm telling you, if you think they're just doing this for free Ukraine after we already took away their freedom by usurping their elections, I'm sorry, like you're on some idiot train. And I hope to God you people know and can figure out what's going on here. So I can't with all this stuff. I really can't. I mean, it's just wild. I mean, a great win with Fani Willis, but now this whole Ukraine thing, it just blows my mind, and how quickly they move towards it when Trump is solving all the problems. I mean, Zelensky's coming to visit him. Trudeau's coming to visit him. He's having phone calls with Mexico, and they're closing up the border and everything like that. And yet now they're trying to hamstring him with a war. Do you guys see what's going on here? I hope people see what's going on. Anyways, again, check out my sponsor, MyPillow. If you are going to order one of those pillows, phenomenal deals. Go to mypillow.com/lumberjack, but call to order. Call the 800 number at 1-800-568-2865. Use that number, and it will automatically get you the promo deals from MyPillow for Lumberjack. 1-800-568-2865. That's my 800 number for mypillow.com. Also, for all your precious metals, call Matt at 480-717-9081. Again, that's VerityMetals.com. Gold, silver, whatever you want, platinum, whatever you want. You want graded coins, you can get that. You want just silver bullion, you can get that. I tend to get like things like this. I'll show you. This is Silver Eagles. If I can get them open. So this is a very common silver coin. I get a lot of Canadian maple leaves because they carry less of a premium. So if you're looking for less of a premium, but the premium always seems to hold on these, so I haven't worried too much about it. But get yourself some gold and silver. I mean, I have two different thoughts. One is it's my hedge against inflation because raw goods typically go up with inflation, and then it's also my ability to have a store of value in tough times should they come. And it's, I mean, if they're just trying to escalate us into a war, I mean, those could come quicker rather than later. Okay. And if we end the Fed, which there's talk of, because Ron Paul is actually becoming part of the advisory on the Trump administration, if the Fed is ended and we go back to gold-backed currency, that is going to increase the value of those tangible assets of gold and silver. So again, I mean, I would do what you want. I'm not an investment advisor. You do what you want. I buy this stuff. I'll just tell you that. And, I get it from Matt, 480-717-9081, 480-717-9081. You go check him out at veritymetals.com, but the best is just give him a call. Again, he's got those self-storage IRA options, which are huge because most of the time you don't have that. So thanks so much for listening to another edition of Lumberjack Logic. Thanks so much for celebrating with me here as we laughed at Fannie Willis and her merchandise store. That was the funniest thing I'd read in a long time. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving and have a blessed weekend with your family. All right. Peace out, folks. Love you. Keep fighting the good fight.